On board his campaign bus, I asked Cruz about Trump's many attacks. Senator Cruz, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it.
Well, it's good to be with you.
So you're getting a lot of flack from your opponents. I just have to say, Donald Trump in the last few weeks has gone after you in one way or another about your faith, suggesting you're in the pocket of big oil, questioning whether you're constitutionally eligible. I understand your strategy of not wanting to engage in what you call the silly season, but are you ever worried that by not responding, some people might feel like you're afraid of Trump?
Well, look, let's be clear. This has been my approach with regard to everybody.
Well, you and Rubio go back and forth sometimes.
Listen, Marco and I have had some disputes on policy, and in particular something like the Gang of Eight, which was a major battle, and we disagreed on substantive policy. So I'm glad to engage on the substance there. But from the beginning of this campaign, whenever anyone has thrown rocks, has thrown insults, I have not engaged, I have not reciprocated, and I don't intend to. And that's the way I've treated Donald, it's the way I've treated every other candidate, and it's the way I intend to approach it. And the reason, Jake, I think most Americans, they couldn't care less about a bunch of politicians bickering like school children.
Well, they care if you're constitutionally eligible, right? I mean, that's something you get asked about that.
But the substance of the issue is clear and straightforward. As a legal matter, the Constitution and federal law are clear that the child of a U.S. citizen born abroad is a natural-born citizen. And the dynamic that's happening, it was interesting. 3 weeks ago, almost every Republican candidate was attacking Donald Trump. Today, almost every Republican candidate is attacking me. And that kind of suggests maybe something has changed in the race.
Well, you're leading in Iowa, for one, and second in the polls nationally. Carly Fiorina saying the other day that she says it's odd that it wasn't until 2014 that you renounced your dual citizenship, your citizenship with Canada. Now, I know you say you didn't even know about it until the Dallas Morning News wrote the story, I think, in 2013. Did you ever go back after that Dallas Morning News story and try to find out more about your parents' time in Canada, whether they did did they vote in Canada when they were there? No, they did not?
My mother didn't, because she was a U.S. citizen. And my mother, look, the internet has all sorts of fevered swamp theories, but the facts are simple. My mom was born in Wilmington, Delaware. She was an American citizen by birth. She's been an American citizen all 81 years of her life. She's never been a citizen of any other place. And so the law is simple and straightforward. And it's actually come up a bunch of times in our nation's history. So John McCain was born in Panama, but he was a U.S. citizen because his parents were citizens.
And he was born on a U.S. military
base. Well,
base.
George Romney, Mitt's dad, who ran for president in 1968, was born in Mexico when his parents were Mormon missionaries. But he was a U.S. citizen because his parents were citizens. And actually, Barry Goldwater was born in Arizona, but before Arizona was a state, when it was just a territory. And again, his parents were citizens. So as a legal matter, this question's straightforward. What it's really designed to do, listen, what the American people are focused on are the real problems facing this country.
Sure.
We've had, in the last 2 days, last night, we had 2 terrorists arrested, one in California, one in my hometown of Houston. They both came as Iraqi refugees, using the same vetting that President Obama wants us to trust with Syrian refugees. And then today we saw a Philadelphia police officer shot multiple times by a man who's apparently pledged his allegiance to ISIS. The American people are looking for who's ready to be commander-in-chief, who's got the experience, who's got the judgment, the seriousness of purpose, the clarity of vision, the strength of resolve to keep this country safe and defeat our enemies. And in my view, any candidates, or for that matter, folks in the press who want to go down rabbit trails and circus sideshows, are distracting from the real issues the American people are focused on. How do we keep America safe? How do we bring back jobs? How do we protect our constitutional rights? That's what I'm focusing on.
Let's talk about one of those issues, immigration.
Yeah.
That's a big issue, an issue where you just a few minutes ago differentiated yourself from Marco Rubio. It's an issue where you and Donald Trump differentiate yourselves from the pack in many ways. You both say you want to deport the 11 to 12 million undocumented immigrants in this country. Now, Trump has said that he will have a deportation force that will go door to door and round people up and get rid of them. You haven't really been clear, as far as I can tell, as to how you're going to get all these people out of the country. How will you get them out?
Well, actually, Jake, I've been very, very clear. There's an 11-page, very detailed immigration plan on my website. It's tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org. Anyone can go look it up, read chapter and verse. That immigration plan was drafted hand in hand with Steve King and Jeff Sessions, two of the strongest advocates and fighters for securing the border we have in the entire country. And it lays out details in terms of how we secure the border.
Well, I'm not talking about the border, though. I'm talking about the people that are already in this country.
No, but it details an entire enforcement strategy. It's not just interior enforcement is a critical part of how you stop illegal immigration. So it's a comprehensive approach to stopping illegal immigration. It begins by building a wall that works. And, you know, as I joked in the last debate, maybe we'll make Donald Trump pay for it. After that, we triple the Border Patrol. We increase fourfold the fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft.
How do you get the people who are already in here out?
You put in place a strong E-Verify system. That means people cannot get employment without proving they're here illegally. You put in place a strong biometric exit-entry system for visas so that we know the instant someone overstays their visa. 40% of illegal immigration is visa overstays. And by the way, deportations are ineffective until you secure the border. Why? Because right now when we deport someone, often they come back in 2-3 days. It's like if a boat is sinking, you got to patch the hole first. If you just start bailing and you never fix the hole, it doesn't work.
I get that, but I still don't understand how the people who are living in the shadows, who are already operating under the radar, at least 11 million of them, will you have a force that goes door to door, rounds them up, and deports them?
We have an enforcement force. It's called Border Patrol, and it's called Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
They're at the border,
charged. No, ICE is not. ICE is not. Border Patrol is at the border. ICE is at the interior. They're both law enforcement. And listen, this shouldn't be an issue of debate. You know, I'm reminded of some years ago, Sonny Bono was asked, "What's your view on illegal immigration?" And he said, "Well, it's illegal, isn't it?" The question of what to do with people here illegally, the Constitution answers this. The president says that the president must, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed. That is a responsibility. When the president takes his oath of office, that's a promise he's making to the American people. What Barack Obama says is he doesn't care what federal law says. He will not enforce it. If I'm elected president, I will follow the Constitution and I will enforce the law. Federal immigration law says if we apprehend an individual who is here illegally, they are to be deported.
If we apprehend them.
I will enforce the law.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it seems like a fairly simple answer, yes or no. Will you have people going door to door, rounding people up?
Door to door, we don't have any system that knocks on the doors of every person in America. That is not actually how the American law enforcement system works. We also don't have people going door to door looking for murderers. We don't live in a police state. We do have law enforcement. How do we catch people? We catch them through things like E-Verify. We catch them through things like the criminal law enforcement system, where in 2013, do you know how many criminal illegal aliens the Obama administration released? It was over 104,000. 196 with homicide convictions, murderers. Roughly 400 with sexual assault convictions, rapists. Those numbers should be zero. Over 16,000 with drunk driving convictions.
Right.
So we enforce the laws, but this notion, and listen, you know the media game you're playing. You want to conjure up.
No, I'm really just, Donald Trump has been very specific. Trump has been specific. There are 11 to 12 million at least undocumented immigrants, and he says he's going to have a force go and grab them and deport them. And
we have law enforcement authorities that enforce our laws. Your question, you keep saying, are they going to knock on every door in America? No, I don't intend to send jackboots to knock on your door and every door in America. That's not how we enforce the law for any crime.